In case you just joined us, this is the Polity reaching you live from KAFTAN television studios here in the nation's capital, Abuja. Now, on this first segment, we look, of course, into 2023 presidency, and we try to look at election management and other issues arising in Nigeria. And, of course, to help us have this conversation, I'll be joined by a series of guests. But first, I begin with Dr. Hamza Talba, who is, of course, the Director General of Atiku Project 2023. It's good to have you join me, Dr. Talba.
It is my pleasure, Mr. Bangwa.
It's quite an interesting race looking into 2023, especially as Nigeria begins to prepare for general elections, as we can see within the parties, the People's Democratic Party, the Leading All Progressives Congress, and all other political parties, are gathering their steam together to unleash who is going to represent them in the general elections. But before we start talking about the candidacies or the candidates emerging from these parties, I'd like to get your general sense, because recently we had an election in Anambra, a governorship election, and then we have a governor-elect right now who is waiting to be sworn in. Yes, Professor Charles Soludo. Yeah. So I'm going to begin by getting what you think. How do you measure the political atmosphere in Nigeria right now, especially when it comes to getting ready for general elections? While noting that in July, there's going to be an election in Osun State, and in October of 2022, there's going to be an election in Ekiti State, while we also prepare for 2023 general elections. So how do you measure the political atmosphere of Nigeria at the moment?
Actually, thank you for having me again, Mr. Banga. Actually, if we can be able to measure the political atmosphere and what is really happening, despite the fact, if you could remember vividly these elections about in Anambra. So it is a key that we, the party members, we should be able to know our inadequacies, instabilities that make us not to match as victorious the recent Anambra general election. So we're going to use that antecedent to see where are the lapses, so as we can be able to address those lapses in order to face the July elections in some of the states.
All right, quite interesting that you said your party is getting ready. Of course, your party, everybody knows, is the lead opposition party in Nigeria. But I want in a general sense right now, where it comes to competitiveness, where it comes to wanting to compete fairly. We saw in the Anambra elections all the parties that came out, and of course we saw the result of for talking about the position of electoral materials in certain areas that didn't get delivered on time. We saw a bit of violence, but in all of that, we have the victory that we have in Anambra at the moment. I'm wondering if you are worried, especially talking about institutions right now, the Independent National Electoral Commission and other bodies, that are in charge of election management in Nigeria. A lot of logistics issues were discovered, during the 2021 Anambra elections. Are you worried that we may likely have such, in the forthcoming elections in July, in October, and in 2023?
Well, if such event should happen or repeat itself, then definitely we are taking the electoral code. Why? Because for making such inadequate. That's because there should not be a reason anywhere where maybe a political material have reached the place and where people are not even there. And if you can take the Anambra case of study, and you can see a lot of things. I have said a lot of inadequacies from the INEC as well, right? Because I have watched a video where people were being gathered inside a room, been just voting. That was even made the one of the contender, was it, what do you call him? He said, okay, he's not even self-agreed with the community results. So we will call on the INEC to do the needful in these July elections. Well, because it is an institution on its own that can be able to do the best for Nigerians, right? Because it's an institution purposely for Nigerians. So that institution should have to do the best in the coming elections subsequently in some of these two states.
All right. It's also quite interesting that while the Anambra election, has released the results, we've had other persons, participants in that election, who kicked against the result that was declared by INEC. For example, we have the All Progressives Congress candidate. I'm talking about Andy Uba, who said he's not satisfied and has, challenged the victory of Professor Charles Soludo in court. Is your party, the PDP, also going to follow suit with that, or you are very satisfied with the result that's been generated?
No, it is now, we have a leadership. You understand, and we are looking and we are studying the situation. If we can be able to front it before the court, or if you can be able to take it and to see what we will do in terms of when it comes to some of the elections subsequently, as we have said earlier, to see it not repeat itself. So at this juncture, or at this period, we are just the kind of athletes studying the situation. If we can be able to move the case before the court, or if you can be able to dissolve the case within the party.
Okay, so you are satisfied with the result?
Not really. I did not tell you we are satisfied. Okay. I said we are still studying the situation.
Okay.
When I'm saying still studying, when somebody is still studying, yes, it's after the study of the whole situation, that is when we can be able to take a decision or not.
Okay, now let's move into 2023 election and the forthcoming elections generally. There are so many sides to who emerges as the president of Nigeria come 2023, and a lot of people, a lot of arguments hover around zoning, around religion and ethnicity and all of that. But I will begin this conversation with a recent position by a northern northern Muslim group, who says that Presidency should be zoned to the north central region of the country in 2023, especially since they have not been president at any point in time in the history of this country before. What's your position personally, and of course probably from the perspective of your party? Should Presidency be zoned to the north central region of the country in 2023?
No, actually, in politics, Mr. Banga, there is what we call freedom of speech. Those people, you call it northern Muslim group or whatever you call them, you understand, they are just expressing their mind, right? Because maybe since the exception of democracy, there was not a president from that north central, so they are just agitating. You understand that the presidency should shift to the north central, and not quite long with the ruling party APC, they have microzone. I can say personally, they have microzone. They have national chairman should come from the north central. You understand that to tell you their agitation is not being given, or it's not being supportive by the All Progressive Congress for them producing a national chairman from the north central. And if you come back to our party PDP, I don't think there is any other attempt. People trying to say, okay, this presidency should microzone or should shift to certain regions. So far so good. I don't think there is any other person or organization that has made such decision.
Okay, so what's the position of your party, especially when it comes to 2023 right now? Are you actually throwing the presidential bid open so that people who come from any region and is interested in picking up the presidential ticket can actually have a free and fair primary election and become explore their chances of becoming presidential aspirant of the party?
Actually, within the PDP political space, the door is very open. And if you could take the just recent national convention, it's the most free and fair convention ever had in the history of democracy in Nigeria. You understand? So by so doing, it can enable you to know when it comes to primaries for presidency or who will emerge as a party bearer. Actually, the party, it is very open, and if I wish to contest for a presidential race, I can still be in the presidential race. The door is very open. There will not be any that the party will identify itself as somebody. No. Actually, we will practically do the politics so as the people will not see it as a form of elimination, so that they can be able to understand what is all about the politics is. You understand?
What's the position of your party with the recently passed motion by the National Assembly that political parties should begin to conduct direct primaries to elect people who emerge as their representatives in the in presidential election and other positions in Nigeria. What's your position? What's the position, your personal position, and that of the PDP?
No, actually, my personal position I'm not with them, because actually, if you can look at the indirect primaries and direct primaries, they are different things entirely. You understand? When you say that you have bring a motion that the people or the party per se should be able to do the direct primaries in electing or in selecting one of whoever. Actually, we are not with them, and we will see at it is now the party have not yet taken its own decision regarding the indirect or direct primaries.
But why are you not with them? Since a lot of people have said over time, since the National Assembly made their position known, that it will open up the political space and allow people to come in and elect people of their choices instead of the consensus candidates that delegates within party systems used to elect the leaders. Why are you or your party? Why are you not really interested? Because I've read a few positions about members of your party saying that first of all it was that the APCs tried to shove it down their throat, and we want
actually Mr. Berger, let me tell you one thing. You understand, like what happened in Anambra, people have been intimidated by so many things, by sitting at home not to come to vote. You understand, by the time we said okay, we let it to people that people should decide on their own. People can only decide on their own when there is a signal. What I mean by a signal is if you take what really happened in the last convention, where the chairman of the planning committee, Commissioner Right Honorable Filtri, that's the executive governor of Arewa State, what he did, it was a very absolutely excellent. Why? Because he said, okay, in minimizing the problems, he said, okay, why are we not adopting the consensus method? And when we have adopted the consensus method and we have achieved the maximum result that we are expected from the outcome of the convention. You understand? If it is okay, you let people to go and decide on their own. How many people do you think they will come out to identify themselves? What I'm telling you, the electorate. How many electorate do you think they will just come out and decide for that decision or for that purpose? Whosoever is contesting either the House of Rep, either a governor, either a senator or president. You understand? But by the time we say, okay, there are certain people, you understand, these people, they are representing this. Then if that should be the case, why are they Senate? Are they not representing people? Then they should have just leave the Senate open. Okay, all these people of this Senate or of this senatorial should just come down to the National Assembly. Would that place occupy them? It will not occupy them. So,
but that's not what they are saying.
I'm calling Mr. Benga. I get right. What I'm telling you here is direct primaries. If I understand it clearly, I mean that people should decide on their own. There should not be any place of maybe either consensus, either delegate should decide for people.
Absolutely.
That's direct primaries.
Yeah.
Indirect primaries, it's a situation whereby some few number of people, or either delegate or whatsoever you call them, they decide and who will be able to govern them. I think that is a wisdom. If we say, okay, we leave the utmost political space to be open, whosoever is coming to decide, actually there should be a kind of inadequacies, instabilities along the process.
So you do not agree that direct primaries will eliminate this apathy that people have, especially because looking at the Nigerian political system, people who represent them most of the time, the people who have not been instrumental in electing them. And when we adopt the direct primaries method, it is meant to actually open up where people can have an open ballot and then clearly decide who they want to follow amongst many contenders. Isn't that a very laudable approach that I thought everybody, including your party, would embrace that complaint?
No, it is the matter of choice. If generally the National Assembly have passed this to bill, it has been adopted, part of the constitution, then we'll go agree about it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But all what I'm telling you here, the direct primaries and indirect primaries, I'm just telling you my view.
Okay.
You understand? But it will be so nice if I'm dealing with 1,000 person, and I say, okay, I'm just dealing with 100. You know, when it comes to numerical numbers, I can be able to deal with those people. But by the time you say, okay, direct primaries, I know what I'm saying. You have just opened the political space open. Okay, let's say, okay, people will learn just make a line. Okay, 1, 2, 3, down to. You understand? Like seriously, you understand? So that process is a little bit difficult to me, right? Because that's from my own perspectives.
Does direct primary to you have any advantage within our political system?
No, actually it has and it has not, right? Because as I'm talking to as an individual, as Dr. Talba, I'm saying, I'm not saying maybe on the behalf of the party. I'm talking as an individual.
Okay.
And from my fundamental view, what I'm saying, actually, if we should adopt direct primaries, you understand, the process, it will be difficult to manage than indirect primaries, right? Because indirect primaries, you are talking of just few numbers. You understand? We are talking of just few numbers. Like these issues of when the subsidy for removal that the FG they are saying is going to give 5,000 per Nigerians. How many are we? Is the FG promising that she's going to give about 200 million people?
No, they have stated categorically that for that they want to give 40 million people 5,000 naira monthly. That there's a figure to it, so it is not targeted toward all Nigerians, but it is the the very poor Nigerians, that have.
How do they know the poor average Nigerians?
Okay.
You understand? How do they know the poor average Nigerians? That's an absurd. You understand, Mr. Benga? It will be even better for us to take the price of petrol the way it is than to say that they are giving 5,000 monthly palliatives. What will 5,000 do for them? You understand? It can't serve any purpose.
Okay, let's look within the PDP, the People's Democratic Party right now, especially regarding 2023 elections. There are quite a lot of persons, though no one has declared who will be running, whether he's interested in running for the presidency in 2023. But what are the people, what persons are you looking at within your party right now that you are sure, okay, maybe I will have former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, though he has not also formally declared whether he will be contesting the 2023 presidential elections. Well, who are the persons, a lot of people are actually having a lot of names at the background. Would you give us an insight into the likely people we should be looking forward to as the 2023 presidential race? Actually, even though the former Vice President of the Republic of Nigeria, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar I don't know, have not declared, but we will be the one to declare for him, and you understand. And apart from him, you understand, there are people like I have heard some people saying like Bukola Saraki too, he would like to be in the race, and there is Tambon from Sokoto, and as well as Sule Lamido, and not quite long, I think maybe Congress will still join the race. You understand? So these are the people that we think when it comes to 2023 general election, they may likely to join the presidential bid race, you understand, within the party. Is your party putting into consideration the call for Nigerians? Nigerians are calling for a youthful leader, that is a leader who is younger in age and not from the block of old generation politicians. Somebody who is more energetic, somebody who is more tech friendly, who is more in tune with current technology and other recent things. Is your party looking in the way of youth in selecting or electing the next leader of Nigeria?
No, actually, if you consider vividly, our national youth leader is just 25 years old. You understand? That to tell you there is a youth space in the party, and the youth have their own space to partake or to participate in the party processes. You understand? But when it comes to the federal, the presidential general elections comes 2023, actually we are looking at the persons that has the country at his own heart. You understand? That he can be able to, along the line with the youth, youth, women, all, you understand? That he can be able to easily going person, you understand? And that's all these qualities, that's the definition of Atiku Abubakar, you understand?
I guess I'll be issuing you invoice after now for you to do that on the show. All right, but let's take a quick break so that we invite our guests to join in. All right, viewers, let's take this quick break. When we return, the conversation on 2023 presidential election and other matters around politics continues. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
This is Startimes from Abuja. I'm Liz Francisco. Hello and welcome to Capture Television News, coming to you live from our studio in Abuja. I'm Adele Hamza.
As a result of this xenophobia, the sense of
This is Captain News from Abuja.
Oh, I don't gawk yourself. Sell your vote, you don't sell your future, but that sell your birthright. How much self divide them by 4 years? How much with that? No sell your vote, oh. No matter the thing them they tell you. No matter the thing they do you. No matter how much money them they give you. No sell your photo. No need to fight, oh. Because your picking no go join you. They go, they won't corner, they laugh you. Oh, don't sell your photo. Yeah, okay. If you look at the situation, everything harsh for this our nation. Poverty rising and inflation. Line still there for the fuel station. Things gotta change my determination. This election, no intimidation. Protect your selection, we gotta make sure everybody votes count for the future. For the future.
Don't let anybody deceive you. Don't let them take your vote from you. Now your future be that. Yeah. Our future be that, yeah. Oh, yeah. Together we can make Nigeria better. Oh, yeah. One voice. We can make Nigeria better. Oh, yeah.
No sell your vote, oh. No sell your vote. No matter the thing them they tell you. Decision be that. No matter the thing they do you. No matter how much money them they give you. No sell your vote.
Okay, Banyaka. Have a quiet I beg you, photo. Time don't come again, no. Them done they show their face, oh. No sell your right, oh. Now follow them fight, oh. It's over to you, so let you speak up, you yo. So ginger, don't let anybody spoil them for you. The power is in you, no sell them for money, oh. No sell your boat, your right, your hoe, for fufu.
Sasa baku sai ya kare duk wani tanadin ku sun shashare sun share hankalin ku kai ya bace gaba ta fi bayewa taimaki kanka taimaki kanki mai rayuwa da inganci.
No need to fight, because your picking no go join you. They go, they won't corner, they laugh you. Don't sell your coat for your bag.
Mommy, daddy, CC, baby, no make mistake today, go spoil your tomorrow. Mommy, daddy, CC, baby, the time don't come again to go, so make we match, go we go both. We go come to work together. We go decide our future.
Oh, no matter where you come from, we're part of a great nation. So everyone sing with me, yeah. From the hilltops of Obudu and then Ubu, from the plateaus of Jos and Taraba, from the food baskets of Cocoa and Otubo, yeah, to the smiling, shining sun in Sokoto, we go photo. From Ondo to Jaba, we go photo. From Port Harcourt to Kaduna, yeah, so no one is left behind. Nigeria is yours and mine. Oh, yeah. Ngema, alonyanga for together. Ngema, alogweja with each other. Oh, lemabe. Votes are only with your PVC, man. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Now you're welcome back to the Polity. We're still reaching you live from KAFTAN Television Studios. Now I've been joined by Chief Ralph Nwosu, the National Chairman of African Democratic Party, in this conversation. Do not forget that I also have Dr. Talba right here in the studio, whom we'll be having this conversation before now. As we go on in this conversation, do not also forget that you can call in with the numbers displayed on your screen to make your contributions about any of the points that's been raised or whatever you feel you need to find out from my guest right here in the studios.
Yeah, I want to correct that. It's African Democratic Congress, ADC, not African Democratic Party.
Oh, African Democratic Congress, I beg your pardon.
Thank you.
All right. You're welcome, Chief Ralph.
Thank you very much.
Yes. All right. We've been having this conversation just before you joined us, and he's been talking, especially from the position of his party, the People's Democratic Party. But I'd like to take the conversation further because we are talking 2023 and we are talking politics here. And one of the most controversial issues around electing the next president of Nigeria has been, where will this person emerge from? Is it the north? Is it the northeast? Is it the northwest? Is it the north central? Is it the southwest, the southeast, or the south-south? Since they are all legitimate Nigerians. But in your own view, I'd like to get your view as to where you think the next president of Nigeria should emerge from.
Thank you very much. As the national chairman of the political party, the party has not taken a position.
Okay.
But on my own part, as a nation builder, considering the special situation where we find ourselves now, it's critical that we consider our diversity. We consider the diversity of the country in the things that we do. The agitations from everywhere so much. A lot of people in this country feel marginalized, maybe because of the leadership inertia of the people that have mounted the seat of government since for the last 20-something years. And so, because of that, people feel marginalized. And if they feel marginalized, it's important that leaders should think of the country a lot more than think of themselves. The United States democracy is more than 200 years, and they only had 46 persons who have been president. So all of us cannot be president. We need to grow the nation first, and in growing this country, it's important that all parts of the country are given sense of belonging now, and so that we can knit our country together into a great nation moving forward.
Are you joining the popular demand from many factors that the next president of Nigeria should emerge from the southeastern part of the country?
I think what has been happening is north-south, and so on. So, you see, I am in a very tight position here, because being the national chairman of a political party, we have members from all parts of the country. So the party is looking at it. We are going to be very dispassionate, but we're going to consider building the Nigerian nation, most importantly. You know, I mean, even in our political party now, we have people from different parts of the country who want to be president and so on. But then we are a transformation-minded political party, and inclusion, managing our diversity as a country, is critical in the decisions that we make.
All right, thank you for that. Now, Dr. Talba, I know we've been having this conversation, and you probably have your position, especially about who should emerge as the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party. But looking at agitations across the country and, you know, the calls for a president of a Southeast extraction, do you think, as an individual now, do you think that Nigeria's president should be given preference coming from the southeastern part of the country?
Well, actually, Mr. Benga, thank you for this question. And I want you to know categorically that politics is a game of number.
Absolutely.
You understand? And now as it is, we are in the verge of who will be the next president, or the president should zone or should shift to the southeast. You understand? If, like me, from my political party, you understand, if a candidate can be able to emerge after the primaries, you understand, if a candidate can be able to emerge after the primaries and it happens he's from southeast, then definitely that one should be our own candidate. But as it is now, as I've told you earlier, we are after the person that has the country in his heart. And going deeply on what we have discussed, you understand, there are a lot of people, as Chief have said, you know, like it's not everybody should be the president. Trying to minimize or trying to see how that this diversity can be able to control, and it's a key.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a key. You understand? So actually, I don't mind if a president or if a candidate should come from the southeast, and if it happens, he's well announced victorious within my party space. I'm just taking it within my party space. You understand? And if it's happened, the candidate happens to be from North, and definitely I will still welcome that person. You understand?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Chief, let me ask you. Looking at the Nigerian political space right now, you have the ruling All Progressives Congress preparing with all the gladiators, political gladiators, you know, trying to find their feet and clinch the presidential ticket of the party. We also have the People's Democratic Party, who has won its chairmanship position to the North Central, and then we are looking forward to who will emerge as the presidential aspirant, and all other parties, your party for example, and other parties in the country. How would you rate the preparedness of our political parties, especially where internal politics is concerned, in preparation for coming general elections in 2023?
I think the political party are doing fairly well. I know that, for instance, in my political party, we have sharpened the entire system. Our strategies are in place. Our youth inclusion, if you get to our party now, the youths are driving it. Youths want to take over. The youth in Nigeria about 70% of the voting population. They want to take over. And they voted that they are dealing with our party. So we've constructed them and brought them into the party. That's number one. Then two, we've also done another strategic thing by getting the Nigerian diaspora to get involved in what we're doing. Because this country has suffered too much. This is time for us to change the gear and put it on the trajectory to becoming the world-class, the superpower nation that God designed it to be. So we've put the critical things in motion to ensure that we get it right. And I can say that in the political space, the PDP, for instance, they've done their congresses and they've done their national convention. Although, nowadays, when you look at PDP and the APC, they seem to have one coloration. because the chairman that PDP elected just left the APC to come and become a chairman in PDP. So just before I came here, somebody was cracking the joke. When we're talking about merging of political parties, that maybe we are working on a serious merger of different parties, and people are seeing the picture that we don't have two very strong parties. We only have one, because those two parties are supposed to be merging to show that they are one party, so that what we are constructing now will become the second political party, which will take Nigeria towards a different direction.
Okay. All right. Just because you mentioned.
So coming to your question, frankly, all the parties are working, and I see APC also. They've been struggling with their own congresses, and so on. So all the parties are getting ready for 2023.
All right, Chief. Let's take this quick call. Hello. Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
KAFTAN.
Okay, thank you for joining us. Please make your contributions or question.
So that is good. I am from Yobe State. Let me identify myself.
All right.
I am from Yobe State, Gaydam local government.
You're welcome. Thank you.
I am watching KAFTAN TV Presidency. And the program is very fantastic.
Thank you very much.
And then my observation is for the Nigerian youth.
Exactly.
Hello?
Yes, we are all heirs. We can hear you.
My own view is for the Nigerian youth.
Okay, what's your view about the Nigerian youth?
My view is that we the youth, we are supposed to engage ourselves in these political issues. Because our leaders are not after the youth.
Okay. All right. Your point has been taken.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I will keep following you from time to time.
Appreciate that. I appreciate it.
And after all, please, I want you to. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good.
All right. Thank you very much. He just touched on the very question I was going to touch, because he mentioned earlier that the PDP is ready, to engage the youth and include them, in running for offices. And he made an example that the current youth leader of their party is 25 years old, and I'm sure we all know that. But my question is, how much is your party considering a youth candidate for presidency? When I say a youth candidate, I'm talking about somebody that falls within the identified youth age bracket in Nigeria.
Technically, the youth age bracket goes from 18 years to 35 years, but in our party we've extended it, because you know why we extended it? The two parties in place have continued to use the same old people to run the country for too long, and they've taken the space of the persons who left. That's the persons of between 35 to even 50 years. They've taken their space with putting people who are 70 years, 69 years, 80 something years to run for office. However, what in our trajectory, we have that 35% of the positions will be run for by youth, and another 35% by women.
Hello, good afternoon.
We have signed memorandum of understanding with youths and with women.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Please tell us your name. Oh, thank you for joining us. Please make your points or your contributions.
My point is that it's a racial issue. They should allow youth to come up.
All right.
they should advise a person like Atiku to produce somebody, while our map of Lagos should look for another person.
Okay.
Anybody that is older than 50 years should not be allowed to come up again.
All right.
Their age is like the two of them.
All right.
Nigeria should look for somebody who is more active, who can take up on this mess we are right now. That is my contribution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much for calling, Mr. Gbenga. I appreciate it. All right. It's obvious from what you can see that Nigerians want a youthful leader this time around. And I was wondering, I think this question should be directed to you, Dr. Talba. He said the leaders...
But Chief was trying to make a clarification.
Yeah, he talked about 35% and an agreement.
We're talking about the youth age average, you understand? He was saying that in their party, they have elongated maybe to 50 years?
40, 45.
Okay, 40, 45. I think this should allow him to learn. Oh, you have more true, then I can be able to respond to this question.
Anyway, as I was saying, I said we have to do that to accommodate a lot of Nigerians whose time and who have been, that's more or less taken over by the two incumbent parties in place who continue to field people of 60, 70 at around election. Let me tell you, ABC has been very, very exemplary. It's in our identifying with the youth that is now redefining the youth leadership of different parties now. Our youth leader is, because he was a very brilliant lawyer, he became the youth leader at the age of 27 really, because
it's been older than that of 25 years.
Yes, but before him, the youth leader of other parties were, your last youth leader must be about 40 something, if not 50 something. But our youth leader challenged them and then was on TV to say, please, all political parties should know what is defined as youths. And since he raised that question, it has changed the map everywhere, and you will see what APC will equally do. I will be happy that APC may bring somebody that is 18 years or 21 years and so on.
Alright, we'll look forward to that.
Alright, Mr. Benga, is like before you respond to Chief, we are trying to ask a question that what my party is going to do about the youthful.
Yes.
And people are calling that the presidency or presidential bill should now be given to you. Actually,
before you answer, I wanted to respond. That's why I'm directing it to you. So the last caller, he said that leaders, especially leaders in the political parties, the leading political parties, that is your party. We talk about former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, right? I'm sure that's the person he was referring to, and of course, former Lagos Governor Arewa Youths in the West. He said that they should rather produce candidates, youthful candidates, that they can throw their weights behind, that their supporters can also throw their weights behind, and to produce the next president of this country. Does that sound like a fair deal to you?
No, actually, as I've said, when we say politics, everybody has his own right, either to contest or not to contest or to be electorate. But I want you to know, categorically, PDP Democratic Party, it is an indication that shows that it's really answered the call of the Nigerian youth. Why? Because when we say a youth leader, we now take this position to a youth that is between 18 to 25 years. You understand? For that, we have actually answered the beautiful youth Nigerian that, okay, this time around, we are not giving a youth leader that is above 30 years or is above 40 years. No. We have given that position, you understand, to a youth. And when it comes to, okay, if Atiku and other people, you understand, that they should just try to adopt somebody to finance him to be the next president. So actually, with that, I think within the political space, everybody has his own right to to contest. So within the youth wing, you understand, whoever feel like, okay, I'm going to run for this office, he's very much welcome, even within our party's space.
Okay.
Yes, you understand?
All right.
Yes.
My next question is actually directed to you.
All right.
I would like to hear from Chief Ralph Nwosu first of all. One of the major challenges in the Nigerian political space is political apathy. We've seen that record in the past 22 years of Nigeria's democracy. And you would agree with me that little or no addition has been done, especially when you look at the recently concluded Anambra elections. Now, going forward into 2023, do you think that Nigerians are now more aware and more politically active and are ready to participate in political activities, especially elections? But before you answer, let's quickly take this call from this caller. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm from Arewa State.
All right. Thank you for joining us. What's your name, please? Walima. All right, madam. Please make your point.
Okay.
Please make your contribution. Please make your contribution.
No, I want to talk about this line, direct primary, because we don't have strength to go and stand it in line.
Okay.
Okay. We are not going to let them go and with their children to go and stand for that queue. And we are not supporting that one.
All right.
We poor people in Nigeria, we are not supporting that.
But it is your civic responsibility for you and your children to participate in electoral activities, including political parties, and become part of what goes on there. All right, I think she already made her point. And I think this is an eye-opener to some realities that we see, especially before you joined us, Chief, we have talked about the position of direct primaries and how it affects political parties. Now, I would not ask you again, because recently you and I have had conversation around especially after the Anambra election, and I think I do know that you support the move for direct primaries in Nigeria.
No. My point is this: while direct primaries may be good, it's wrong for the government, now the legislative arm, to legislate for parties how to select their candidates.
Okay.
Parties have their own strategies. The way they select their candidates may be part of their strategy. You don't build.
Your apologies, sir. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I am from Yobe State,
Okay.
from the local government.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Okay, Mohammed.
Yes, I have a question to Hamza.
Okay.
Yes.
Please go ahead. We can all hear you.
That is good. Are you hearing me?
Go ahead.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes.
My question is that he is pretending that they give somebody with 25 years, a youth leader, let him go and arrange the political structure of the party. How many office holders are there in the National Executive Council of their party? If to say they want to take the youth to the next level, they are supposed to at least get 5 or 10% of the executive of the political party. It is only single person in that office.
Thank you for your view.
The rest of the executive. Possibly, you call and ask him who bring you to the office. He is going to tell you that, yes, my boss is somebody, you will bring somebody's name, and it's answerable to the person. He cannot able to even bring a single person. And how can you go out to somewhere? This is the procedure. Let youth and find the solution. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mohammed from Yobe State. Appreciate your call.
You see, I share part of his views.
Okay.
You see, it's not just about taking one young man and putting him in the executive. He may be lost. What we've done in ADC is that we said, 35% of the neck should be youth. 35% women. Then the other positions will be left for others. In that case, when our youth leader is there with us, the director for communication and the youthful lady is also there with us, and so on and so forth. Therefore, they are able to really fit in. Because if I bring my son to a power where I am with all my colleagues, people from their 50s and 60s, and then I say, oh, because you are representing that, you need to sit there, and they feel very uncomfortable, and so on. So I understand what he's saying, and I think the parties must have to
It's just yesterday that we have just finished our national retreat here in that held in this NAF conference.
Okay.
And apart from the keynote speech that they are all being delivered, the national retreat leader Mohammed Arigu, in fact, if you could have his own speech, he have made a lot of speech that directly or indirectly will impact to the all Nigerians. You understand? In our party, he has given all the mandate as a national youth leader in charge. There is no any other person who actually do or not to do. He is in charge of that office. You understand? So there is no any other thing that they will think otherwise. And subsequently to what they have said, we have making door open for each and every Nigerians. We do not even say, okay, we have just say, okay, these category for positions are for this. No, we do not do that. During our convention, we make the door open. Whosoever is interested in this race should come. I think are the kind of people that comes and contesting for this, and they were later being matched or being announced as victorious of the various offices. You understand?
All right. Yes. Your point is taken. Now, Chief Ralph, just because you understand the situation, and before we go on this quick break, I'd like to get your view. How do you think we can actually mobilize more youths? Taking a cue from what your party has done, providing specifically 35% for youth population, youth inclusiveness in your appointments and other positions, how do you think we can consciously engage Nigerian youths? Looking also at one of the callers, I think Walima from Taraba, that talked about they are not ready to go and queue behind anyone and all that. There is this clear position of apathy still within the Nigerian political space. What do we do to mobilize youth, especially encourage them to partake in electoral?
Okay, now I'm going to link it to the issue of the direct primaries and the National Assembly trying to legislate all the functions of a political party. Allow the political party to function, but what INEC, people, the electoral management board should expect that let your processes, let your constitution, let the processes with which you want to run the party affairs be clear to everybody. Therefore, that's why before the primary they say guideline. Let the guidelines come out. You can have your guidelines and and make sure you don't change it, time after time. So it's constant. Ours as ABC may be different from PDP, may be different from this. We may put our processes to suit our strategy. But having to legislate that you must do this and do that and do that and so on, it's like trying to pigeonhole the whole party and the whole system. It's not right.
Okay.
Then, sorry, I'm trying to take on the other issue. Then,
talk about, okay, you link direct primaries.
Now, on the youth, what has happened is this. We've had in ADC, a lot of As a matter of fact, there was a general poll that was concluded in April, and the youth in Nigeria, 40% of them voted that they're moving into ADC. And since then, they've been trooping in. And because of that, some brilliant young presidential candidates, Dr. Favor Ayodele, Professor Kingsley Moralu, and so on, have come to identify with our party, and a lot more are coming. But one thing in that area is the youth control 70% of the population. They've not been coming out because the system in place is wrong. We need a transformational system. You see, the culture must change, and the moment our youth start to see through the strategy that ADC is putting in place that this is changing, I bet you for the first time in this coming election you will see over 30-something million votes cast for a party that has not been in power all along.
Oh, I'm sure every Nigerian will look forward to that. We do have a very strong one. All right. Before we go on this break, Dr. Talba, now, if there are no restrictions when it comes to religion, when it comes to ethnicity, when it comes to all the other sentiments in Nigeria regarding electing the next leader, what qualities should we be looking for in the next Nigerian's president?
No, actually, apart from this, what you have mentioned, and before I answer your question, I think we have discussed this earlier than this. Have told people, or we have discussed that our Nigerian institutions is never defined by any of our faith, either Islam or Christianity. You understand? It's not defined by any of this faith. You understand? So, but when we are talking about politics, when it comes to 2023 general elections, the ethnicity, diversity, religions, you understand? And political inclination, we should put it aside. Let's look at the person that has the country at heart. The person that can take country out of this shit and make the country forward. You understand? And these are the qualities that we look at. If the person possesses those qualities, then he's welcome.
All right.
You understand? I think that might be.
All right. Yes. Thank you so much.
You are most welcome.
All right. Let's go on a quick break. All right, guys, let's go on this very quick break, and when we return, the conversation continues on the Polity. Stay right here with us, we'll be back.
Thinking of where to get the latest information and in-depth analysis on news, events, and trending stories around the Federal Capital Territory? Or do you need a medium to showcase those amazing brands, businesses, and events of yours? Seek no more.
So a beautiful community for a whole lot of tourists and tours.
And we got you covered. Tune in to channel 124 on Startimes at 10 p.m. West African time on Tuesdays and Thursdays to be informed on policies, news, reports, events, and their effects on the Federal Capital Territory.
The time when you are pushed to the wall and there's nowhere to go but up.
If we just decide in our hearts that we want to believe in Nigeria and we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
This is our dream, and a new Nigeria is that dream that we so much seek and desire.
The destiny of Nigeria is in our hands. We are the country. The country is us.
We are Nigeria.
We are that turning point generation. We are Nigeria. We are the future.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here.
case you just joined us, this is the Polity reaching you live from KAFTAN television studios in Abuja. Today we are looking into 2023 elections and election processes in Nigeria, and of course we are looking at presidential hopefuls and all the issues around them. And I'm in the studios with the national chairman of African Democratic Congress, Chief Ralph Nwosu. I also have been joined by Arigu Mohammed, the national coordinator of Arewa Youths for Orji Uzor kalu, right here in the studios. It's good to have you join me.
Thank you very much. Welcome, sir.
You're welcome.
Now, this conversation has been going on for almost 2 hours now about 2023 presidency. And I'm quite excited because you are youth. And before Dr. Talba left here, we were talking about the position of youth and the place of youth in these general elections coming 2023. As you already know, a lot of people are already drawing support for people whom they believe is capable of leading Nigeria. Yes. As a youth who is very much in tune with the different narratives around politics in Nigeria, let me get your view as to where you think that the next president of Nigeria should emerge from. Is it the northeast, the northwest, the north central, the southeast, the south, the southwest, or what part of Nigeria should Nigeria's next leader emerge from?
Well, thank you very much. My name is Atiku Mohammed, the national coordinator of Arewa Youths for Orji Uzor kalu come 2023. I'm very glad to be with you here today. Based on what we are seeing and what is happening now, looking at the fact that since from 1999 up to this day, the presidency have been rotating. Looking at from 1999 to 2007, the Southwest have the opportunity to rule this country. We also gave the chance to people from South. And I believe now the Northerners have been ruling from 2015 up to date with the same vice president from the Southwest. So why can't we reason and consider our brothers from the Southeast region of the country? Because looking at the fact that they have not been given that opportunity, let us test them and see their capability. That's why we come up with this socio-political platform to drum support for one of the great leaders from the Southeast whom we think is capable enough to rule this country to the greater high.
All right, very interesting there, you say. But lest you forget, there are other arguments, especially on the public space, that talks about other regions of the country that has not also had a stint at presidency. So you go to the northeast, we have not had a northeastern president. You go to the north central, we have not had a north central president. And then the southeast that you mentioned. And there are agitations everywhere. Even recently we had a coalition of Muslim groups or Muslim youth, draw support for a north central candidate. But my question is, what should be the criteria actually for electing Nigeria's next leader? Should it be about region? Should it be about tribe? Should it be about religion? What exactly should be the criteria for electing Nigeria's next leader, in your view?
Well, in my own opinion, I think we should consider the power rotation. See, the north, when we say the north, we are describing the north central, the northeast, and the northwest. Okay. So if someone from the north will rule the country, I think we should shift the power to the south. So when we look at the southern part of the country, then we should reason where are they yet to rule the country. Looking at the fact, that's why I say people from the south and the southwest, they have ruled this country before. So why not we should consider our brothers from the southeast?
Okay.
This time around.
All right. Chief Ralph, this is another Nigerian youth, and now he's talking about giving support to a candidate from the Southeast. But I know we've talked about this before, but because he's just joining us, what should be the prerequisite for electing Nigeria's next leader? Should it be by tribe? Should it be by religion? Should it be by ethnic origins and all the sentiments that we already have?
Now, let me commend Arigu especially for the way he's triangulated on these things. We've had a president from the Southwest. He was there for 8 years and did a marvelous job. We've had another vice president from the Southwest. Good. Then the presidency went to the North after that regime. Unfortunately, the president that was elected, a great man, Arigu, died in office. And that's what has created some kind of lacuna. Otherwise, the process had gone north, south. Jonathan finished serving his term, and then I had another 1 term, and so on. And then it now came to the north again, and President Buhari won the election. So his argument go back to the south and touch all areas of the country is good. Because you have to have a nation before politicians start wanting who is the president. Because we play too much politics, we destroy the country, and we may not even have a country. What has been happening in Nigeria is too much politics everywhere, politics, and people designing public policies for selfish gains and so on, not considering the country. And that's why almost all the youth across Nigeria, whether they're in Sokoto, whether they're in northeast, whether they're in north central, whether they're in the southeast, the youth are suffering. So we need to give everybody, the young men, whether you're from the north or south, a sense of belonging, so that we can have a country that is strong, energetic, and so on. And I bet you, if we're able to create that, Nigeria will be on the trajectory to become a superpower. Because the moment you have 200 million Nigerians, which is our vision, to have the 200 million Nigerians committed to the cause of Nigeria, then we have emerged superpower on the superpower trajectory. Nothing can stop it. So I like what you're doing, your passion and so on is good. I wish, I'm national chairman in my party. I'm struggling with the party leaders to make sure that we do what the party wants and so on. But for a party that has transformational ideology, and we always think about inclusion, age, sex, where you come from, etc. I think at the appropriate time they're going to do the right thing. And I think there was a time we were going to talk about the subsidy and the fuel, stuff. The elites are confusing Nigerians. They're confusing Nigerians because before this government went into office, they said there's nothing like a fuel subsidy. But all of a sudden, at the true light of their existing office, they are making so much about the same thing that they said didn't exist. So there's a confusion. Nigerians need to know the truth. The ABC government will open up the books in Central Bank, open up the books in NNPC, so that Nigerians will know. The moment Nigerians know the truth, they will decide the path to go.
All right, Chief. Please hold your thoughts. We have a caller.
Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us. Yes, good afternoon. Thank you for joining us on the Polity.
I want to make a contribution.
Okay, what's your name, please? Where are you calling from?
Okay, I'm Mukail calling from Jata.
Calling from where?
I want to make a contribution.
Please, you said you are calling from where?
I'm
All right. Please make your point. Make your contribution. We can hear you. Please go ahead. All right. Go ahead, please.
Okay. The contribution I want to make is that actually youth are completely sidelined in politics. You understand? The thing is that during campaign and all other things before the election, youth are usually used. They are the tool for anything, you know, the campaign, the casting and the mobilizing of people here and there, you understand? Immediately after the election, you will not see youth occupying positions. And youths now are ready to occupy positions, you understand? If you look at it like from the history, so the military, you understand? People like Yakubu Gawan, they ruled this country at the age of 20-something to 30-something, you understand? But now, leaders deliberately trying to sideline the youths from the positions. Now, I want to ask, what is like ADC in particular doing in order to make sure youth have like 60 to 70% positions in their party and other parties, like the PDP? What are they doing? You understand? Like example, PDP gave youth leader to actually youth, you understand? But what about other positions? You understand? After winning the election, what about the positions? You understand? Like ministers and so on and so forth. Giving an example like the President EFCC boss. You understand? We need to see people like this holding positions, not only having youth leader in political parties and so on and so forth. We want to see you in positions to encourage us. You understand? You know, politics is a very good game. But youth are left handicapped, financially handicapped. You understand? All our effort is ending after election, immediately after election. No room for youth. So please, I'm calling for the politicians. You understand? They're supposed to look at youth. You understand? They're supposed to look at youth as a tool for national development. Because we are about 70-something% of the population.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mukaila. We appreciate your contribution. I think I will still have to go back to you again, especially because he mentioned your party, and I'm sure he hasn't been following as much in the conversation when it started, because you had talked about your National Executive Council, where you provided 35% position for youth and 35% position for women, which is a lot of number when it comes to inclusiveness. But perhaps you want to respond to the last caller.
Yeah. You see, for a group that has 70% of the voting population, they shouldn't be beggars really. They should stamp the door, open it, and take over. That's what I expect. The last election was won with the winner of the last election won with less than 18 million votes. Registered Nigerian youths, men and women today, more than 50 million. If half of them vote in this election, they've taken over the state. And that is why when they conducted their poll, and they identified that we want every young man and woman to go to ADC, that's the party that the Nigerian youth takeover has identified. I was very, very elated, and we try to support them moving forward. I wish they can match that with action. And you can see the kind of attraction it has done into the party. Persons like Professor Moralo, persons like Dr. Favor Ayodele, and by next week there's a young lady, a professional, about 35, 37 years, she's coming to she's already arranging with the party that she's coming to declare to run for a president, and we're happy about such developments. And so, but having said that, the youth should not wait because democracy is about vote. The youth should stop standing on the door and saying, "Come, you elders, open the door for me." They should force the door open, go to the ballot box and vote out everybody that they don't want. They have the capacity. But the culture and place seem to have corrupted a lot of our young people and their young mind. In ABC, what we've done is using the wisdom of the elders, wisdom that comes with age, and matching it with the diversity, the strength of the young people, and so on. And then it has been phenomenal in the way we are building our party.
All right, thank you very much, Chief Ralph. All right, Mohammed Arigu. Yes. Now, let me come back to you. You are here now, and you are the Arewa representative in support of Orji Uzor for presidency in 2023. Yes. It is not far away for me to actually conclude that, based on your previous point, that you support a Southeastern candidate for president in 2023, and that's the reason why you're supporting. But following all that you have heard, a lot of people are calling for a youthful person, to emerge as the president in Nigeria come 2023. Why do you insist that Orji Uzor should become Nigeria's next president?
Well, our reason for this decision is looking at the fact that Orji has been one of the great leaders from the Southeast, with his connections with the entire part or region of the country. For an emirate council like that of Daura and Kebbi State to identify such a great leader, it means something for the entire nation, because people would like a leader that is conversant or is having a good relationship with everyone, because we will need someone that will carry everyone alone, not that someone that will depend on a particular region, or he wouldn't like to carry the entire nation alone. Okay. So Orji Uzor has been one of the good leaders from the Southeast that have this capacity to take Nigeria to the greater high.
All right. And then I want to chip in. Okay. Most of the time when people talk about youth president, because I've interrogated them, and they seem to say, we don't want presidents who will spend many months in hospitals in America or anywhere in the world. So that's what they are saying in effect. And then when you see leaders who are over 70, 80, and then very full, within the last 2 or 3 tenures of presidency, we had Arewa, who unfortunately the stress of the campaign, the stress of the campaign knocked him down, and it was difficult for him to get back, and it knocked him out. And then after that, Jonathan's effort to 6 years. And then we now got into where we are now, in the person of President Buhari. And you can see almost always flying abroad. And they don't like that image. Therefore, they want a vibrant person, and so on and so forth. And then, so when they actually are saying, when our youth leaders in the ADC, when they talk about having a young person take over and I've interacted them, and I know they want a dynamic young person, and I want to say that the person that you people are pushing, I think he's about 60 or something. I think he actually qualifies for the kind of image that the young people want to see.
Okay, very, very interesting. Thank you for that point. All right, I'll come back to you, Mohammed Arigu. In Nigeria, he has given us a trajectory of what the Nigerian youth want, and I'm sure you are also very, very familiar with it. Now, what are the basic issues that you think that he will be able to address, especially looking at security challenges in the country at the moment, looking at how divided the country is? Do you think that, the person, I'm talking about OUK now, whom you are drawing support for, will be able to handle Nigeria and reunite it across party lines, across religious and ethnic divides that has already bedeviled the country at the moment?
Well, it's my great belief that when OUK emerged as the president of this great country, he will try his possible best to address the issue of insecurity. He will try his possible best to bring the country together. By so doing, if I remember previous time ago, one of the past head of state, military head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, also recommend a leader like OUK to become the president. So I believe with all these notions from our great leaders, OUK can be able to achieve his aim by bringing the country together. Issue of division should no longer be existing in this country.
All right, but currently he is a member of the ruling All Progressives Congress. And if you look within the All Progressives Congress, there are quite a lot of, maybe I should call them big elephants, who are interested in contesting for presidency. Do you think that OUK will be able to emerge as the presidential candidate of the ruling All Progressives Congress come 2023?
Inshallah, with the support from the people of which we are trying to start our own sensitization and awareness campaign. So with the support from people and some leaders, OUK can emerge.
But you are aware that the national leader of the party, even though he has not formally declared, is actually interested in this race. We also have the vice president of the country at the moment, who a lot of people are already rumoring is interested in contesting for the same position. We also have the governor of Kogi State, Governor Yaya Bello, who is interested in this position. So there seems to be, the APC in itself seems to be filled with a lot of people, and even others who have not yet declared their position where presidency is concerned in 2023. Again, I ask you, do you think that Orji Uzor stands a chance to win the internal war within the APC and emerge as the candidate of the APC?
Well, like I said, by the special grace of God, looking at the fact that in the previous election, when the former president Olusegun Obasanjo was ruling, most of the governors have shown their interest in contesting, of which late Yaradua happened to be part of the people that showed their interest last. At the end, they emerged as the winner. So it is not the beginning, but the end matters. So we believe by the special grace of God, whose logical look at emerge, despite the fact that there is a high tension.
All right.
I'm happy you said big elephants. I'm not agile tigers.
Well, I just use those words.
I'm sorry. I'm only kidding.
All right. And now going forward, Chief Ralph Nwosu, in the 2023 presidential race that we are looking at in Nigeria, Do you see an active third force? Because a lot of people have been saying, if you look at the 2019 elections, other persons, several parties contested in that election, but it was clear that two parties owned the election. How much would you say is going on, maybe at the background? Earlier I remember you talked about a merger. How much is going on at the background, looking at the political space in Nigeria, to actually have a vibrant and active third force that can compete, with the ruling party and of course the leading opposition party in Nigeria, the PDP? Do we have a very strong force? Do we have people of credibility that can actually push this cause and then emerge as the president of Nigeria?
I can assure you one thing. Nigerians have learned a lot of lessons. After 22 years of the democratic process on, if we've not learned anything, especially looking at the entire Nigerian space and ecosystem, you know that then we're not a nation. With all the level of insecurity, for the fact that last week on Sunday, people cannot travel. Some people were going to Kaduna and got laid. On Monday, the same thing. Even on Tuesday, the same thing happened. What did that tell you? The government in place and the party in place have fallen. And if that has happened within their 7 years of being in power, it equally showed that the other party that was in power for 16 years didn't play the needed infrastructure. Defense, security, etc. Nigerians won them out. Nigerians won them out. So the third force is being formed via a massive merger. Some political parties are in conversation. They are tidying it up. And more than 50% of the other political parties that the INEC delegated registered are also coming on board. So 5 political parties, 6 political parties coming together, and the more than 40-something other political parties and associations coming together, working and giving leadership to the young people who have identified with ABC. The young Nigerians have identified with ABC. They voted 40%. Over 40% that ABC is the party that we are identifying with. If we play with this, the election is already won. I told you that the youth constitute 70-something million of the, I think, 80-something or 90-something million that INEC registered. So we take 30% of that. The election is concluded. So our struggles now is putting the strategy together to get them to say, come, forget the culture in place. Don't be scared. I mean, it's good that another election happened and we saw what insecurity can do. There's a state where the place is completely insecure. There was voter party, they didn't come out. So we are doing something about it. We won't allow the incumbent government, the fighting between the incumbent government and PDP to polarize the space and make everybody scared so that they don't come out. Because if voters don't come out, you know what happens? The incumbents will win. So what we are doing is to give the young people confidence. And they give them confidence. From next month, we will see our confidence building strategies in place.
All right.
And our youths will become strong and they will march and take over Nigeria.
All right. I wish you the best. With that, Chief Ralph Nwosu. All right. Let me come back to you, Mohammed, as we round off in this conversation. I want you to answer me in 60 seconds. He's talked so much about a third force and the possibility of taking over, the political space in Nigeria. Will you be bringing Orji Uzor Kalu out of the ruling All Progressives Congress to try his chances in the active third force, that is about to emerge in the country?
Well, Orji Kalu is a member of the ruling party, All Progressive Congress. So I believe the party will help working with him to the success of his actualizing of his own ambition of becoming president of this country. So I don't think it is possible for him to
join another party. All right, quickly, what's your message to Nigerian youth? You support Orji Uzor, and you support that because of inclusiveness. You feel that a particular region of the country has been marginalized.
Yes.
Now, what is your message to Nigerian youth going forward as we move into this heated political season in Nigeria?
Well, I'm advising my fellow Nigerian youth to make sure we maintain peace and orderliness in this our great country. Without peace, we cannot move ahead. So issue of fighting one another, issue of seeing each other as enemies should be eliminated. We should love one another as brothers. This irrespective of our religion and tribe, irrespective of our region and the state of which we belongs to, we should live as brothers.
All right. Thank you so very much, Mohammed Arigu, the National Coordinator, Arewa for OUK 2023. Yes. I appreciate your contribution. And I also must thank you, Chief Ralph Nwosu, the National Chairman of African Democratic Congress, for coming on the show and for giving us your intelligent contributions and experience on the program. We appreciate it.
Thank you. And for me, as the last comment, as a Nigerian youth, stand up and get counted. Take ownership of this country. Take ownership. Don't get scared. Take ownership and take over.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. You've heard, of course, Chief Ralph Nwosu, the National Chairman of the African Democratic Congress, saying, youth, it's your turn. Rise up, take ownership, and take over. And that's why we draw the curtain on this edition of the Polity. So don't worry, tomorrow we will look into the other aspects of the show, which I mentioned earlier, which is the federal government's position on the fuel subsidy removal. It will, of course, come to you handy with a lot of information. Till tomorrow, when I come your way again, I am Olubenga George. Thank you so much for joining us.